All right. And I guess, Patrick, can you hit the lights? Yeah, right by the door. All right, guys. Thank you for making it out. We've been planning this one for a while, this meet and shoot critique one, and it's an interesting one because the weird part is all the admins don't really like critiquing. It's really weird. We've been shooting for a while, and I used to critique as a teacher when I was at Showcase, and my critiques were, I mean, they liked it, but it's one of those things where I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's not that I don't mind hurting feelings. It's just I've never been. For any of you video game people, this is going to sound really weird. There's a game called Street Fighter. All right, I'm going to tell you a story. It's really weird. There's a main character. His name's Ryu. And he's like, sorry, I can't teach you. I'm always learning myself. And that's exactly why I find it difficult to critique, because for me, photography is not something that I want to end. It's just I'm constantly pursuing it. But in the reality of it all of us, we all know a little. We can comment on it. And so today, it's more than me critiquing. It's Jamie and it's Patrick. I asked them because they are the meet and shoot admins, and truthfully, it's going to show you a little bit of our personalities because we are the anchor when you go to any of our events. There's so many of you here that we love, but you're pretty much going to see us all the time. So as we each give critiques, you're going to find out who you like more, and when you go to one of our events, you will talk to that person. And I assume this is going to be the award winner right here, because he's the one who's probably not going to go out of his way, I'm pointing at Jamie here, to piss anyone off. My critique style, guys, is what's called the Oreo type style, where it's sweet, then it's serious, and then it's sweet again. I'll go ahead and be honest with that there. Show of hands, who here, thick skin, who here wants an honest critique? I assume most of you guys. And so when I say I like it, I like it. But the thing is, I like a lot of stuff. Photography to me is just a study of humanity. But then I will look at it on a technical level and so forth. I don't necessarily know how they're going to critique. Patrick, anything you're going to look for?
As long as it's not unintentionally blurry, so it should be good.
And
I mean, proper use of don't put HDR effects on people. But no, just generally, I'll know a beautiful image when I see it.
Well, he kind of jumped on. I'm going to pick on him here. Jamie, why should you not, in your mind, put HDR effects on people? Because this is a meeting. So this is like one of those things where some people are okay with it, some people aren't. I want to see what Jamie says.
Oh man, well, I just think it gives you some really interesting results. I don't think the colors aren't always true to life, but there's other things to be said about the clarity and the contrast.
I'm trying to put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did.
Look at them.
I know.
You're talking in that.
Well, yeah, and this thing.
Well, that's. I will go ahead and say this, guys, and hopefully that's picking me up. When it comes to critiques like that on the technical side, I'll say like a majority of time it's not done that way. But I want to go ahead and tell you guys on my end, and I believe these guys too. We have the firm belief that you can do whatever the hell you want. You know, you can explore it. But as a person who does commercial photography too, I will say, I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan. I'll go and say a nice batting average and a consistent hitter is what you call a stud. Is what you call an MVP. You know, you don't have to hit a home run all the time, but we all know Chipper Jones here. He gave 15 good years, 16 good years of baseball. And if you look at the numbers, he only batted 35%. And so can't pass with any 35% in any grade here school-wise, but he was consistent. And so when I look at the stuff and I say I see something, one of the critiques I will give is, can you consistently do it, or if you got lucky? That's what, when I'm looking. If you find yourself consistently being able to do it, and then we critique it in a way where we think you may have gotten lucky, yes, just have a small smile and say, ha, we know more than you. But anyways, before we go on with the critique, guys, a little bit about us. There's a couple new faces. So I'm going to go ahead and do some introductions before we do the critiques. This group, guys, is called Meet and Shoot. For those who haven't been here before, we've been here for a while. Meet and Shoot is a meetup group started by me, Trent Chow, and Chris, who's not here. Where is Chris? He's actually in town, but normally he's out of town. Today, the venue is provided by Mike Noah, Photoplex. As always, Mike is an amazing partner for us, and it has guys. You guys can rent the studio for $50 for 2 hours as a member. It's an insane price. You can't really go anywhere else and get this type of studio there. So as always, talk to Mike Noah or get the information up front. For any hour over that, it's like 35 bucks. So pretty much all the other studios in Atlanta, you're looking at 50 to 75 an hour. And so for anyone who's looking for a good price on renting a studio, you got one here. Also, Aperture Rent has always been a sponsor, and if you use the code MEETSHOOT10, you will get a 10% off promo code. Congratulations to them. They're on their 5-year anniversary, so I do believe there was a quick sale today, but look them up on Facebook because I think they put up a sale today for 30 minutes where it's 50% off your rental. So I assume they're going to do a few more things like that because it is their 5-year anniversary. So follow them on Facebook if you guys can and send them some of our business. Oscar at Aperture Rent's always giving stuff for Meet and Shoot members to use, and the discount is there. So if you rent anything from them, just use MEETSHOOT10 and you'll get 10% off. All right, guys. Some of you guys already know this. For those who don't, Meet and Shoot's an organized photography meetup group based in Atlanta, Georgia, promising to deliver amazing photo shoots, great workshops, and classes. Essentially, what we do, guys, is we do your busy work. We get the models together, we get the venue, we set up the lighting, and we do all of that, and you pay us, and you come in, and you shoot, and they're your photos. Essentially, that's how it works. They're not our photos that are anything of ours. They're your photos. The biggest promise that we make to you guys is we do not set up anything we would not shoot ourselves. And so that's important to us. We'll set up complex lighting situations. We'll do all of that, but we'll also explain how it works. One of the greatest things that I love about Meet and Shoot is we're surrounded by people who just love sharing with others. If we're busy, if Jamie's busy, if Patrick's busy, if I'm busy, more than likely I will say I'm busy because I'm setting up all the lights or so on. You can talk to any other Meet and Shoot member, and they will go out of their way to make sure you get the photo. It's been something that's been that way for 4 years, and it's outstanding. Essentially, just so you guys know, what Meet and Shoot is we are not a social group that meets and do photos. We are a photo shoot that invites people to come in. So the main thing with Meet and Shoot is their structure. That structure is there. This is the shoot. This is what you're going to expect. Come hang out. And I know it sounds weird saying that, but it's important for you guys to know what you're getting and how it is. So that's what Meet and Shoot is. That's the premise and what it's set up for. And we provide high-end equipment and a great, unique experience. So we always have cool shoots in the pipeline. Check out our meetup.com page or our website. Shoots can range from free to members or have a low cost, which leads into this. Our membership program was started last year, and it has been an amazing success. Pretty much you pay $25 for 1 year, and you get to come to what we call member events. These events are pretty cool. Like tonight is a member event. This is a low-key member event. It's a critique. There's a few of you guys here. The next week one is going to be, hopefully, I don't necessarily want them bigger, but the ones where we show educational stuff, they tend to be pretty big. The next week one is a how to do dramatic lighting with one, or how to do dramatic photos with one light. And so we've done a few in the past already where we've done like branding, watermark branding, focal or lenses we've done. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Some pretty insane ones, like understanding why lenses work and what they do. What else do we? Shooting on a budget. Pretty much, I think a month or 2 months ago, I gave myself a budget of like $125 to buy a studio light and stands and a modifier, and we showed the results that you can get with that, which I think most people agreed looks like what you would spend $2,000 or $3,000 on, stuff like that. So we always have that, and also they're broadcast online. So if you're not familiar with the social meetup shoots where there's a lot of people, we actually have an introduction one where we tell you how to set up or how to put a pocket wizard on your camera. A little etiquette, shooting etiquettes, like what to expect, what to do, and so forth. But also, you guys are welcome to talk to us. So memberships are only $25, guys. It lasts a year, and this is where we suck. We really don't note, all right, this guy signed up July 7th. So if you think it's been a year, guys, pay for it. If it's been 12 or if it's been 15 months, pay for it. You know, like we're not really enforcing it. You guys have seen the benefits of it. We've done at least, I know it sounds weird saying this, we've done about 13 member events already since we've set it up. So I can promise you just one and you get your money's worth. And we are broadcasting it online, so if you can't make it, you can always see it, watch it later, or you can watch it live. And so it's going to be worth your time just whenever. So we have 2 TFP member-only shoots. We're going to set up one soon. Essentially, what we do with there is we get 11 setups, we find 11 models, and we set different lighting setups. This is so you guys understand what we love at Meet and Shoot. They're not the same lighting setups. We set up 11 different ones so you see what you like. And you go to each of these stations. You could shoot if you want to, or you can just socialize, and you just do a shoot there. Something we always recommend at Meet and Shoot is take a picture of the model and step back and take a picture of the whole thing, because you want to be able to see what the lighting setup that did that. And so the TFP member events allow you to do that. As always, we need your help to spread the word. If you guys can do that, the more people who come, the better it is for us. All right, so Studios for Members. One of the other benefit for members that we started doing this year is we have 3 studios. Photoplex is one of them, Dark Flower Studios on the bottom, and the Buford Studio on the right, that are fully stocked with lighting equipment that you can rent at a discounted price. And so you save money, you just do a direct rental. Like Light Play Studios is $100, Dark Flowers for 4 hours down the bottom is $175, and there's 4 studio lights there waiting for you. There's radio triggers and all that. So all you do is bring yourself, bring a model, bring a camera, and you're ready to shoot. The Dark Flower Studios is a no-brainer because you get the studio and the whole goat farm grounds for 4 hours. And so it's pretty nice. The only limitation that you have is you can only rent it up to with 2 other photographers. So you can't really set up like a 10 photographer thing where you guys are all paying like $7. You guys are $15. You actually can only go up to 3 photographers. Completely incredible, guys, and it's a steal of a price. Dark Flower Studios is $175 for 4 hours, once again. And then Photoplex is more of the membership program, but Mike always provides the studio for us, and it's nice. So having a nice studio to go to is always something that's great for you to do your photography at, and also just to bring talent. Saying such, I believe that's pretty much the introduction we're going to do there. So now we're going to go ahead and look at the folder. Amanda, I think I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I got a few emails on Monday and Sunday, and some people sent some photos for me to look at. I thought they sent it to this computer, or I thought it was sent to this computer, but they're not loading up. I'm only getting up to last Tuesday. Did anyone send me, Stan, did you send me photos? Anyone send me an email with photos? I think most everyone had USB sticks. If you're listening online, if you're watching live, email me at trent@trentchow.com. Go ahead and send it in, and send 3 photos, and I promise you we will look at it as long as we receive it within the next hour. I apologize. So if anyone sent me an email, Leo, I got yours. Fortunately, yours came in yesterday. So the ones on Sunday and Monday, I haven't. All right, so something that we kept is hopefully you guys didn't put your names on it. Okay, good. Oh, well, M. Gilbert, I don't know. So what we're going to do is sort by size. That should organize it randomly. All right, guys, so pretty much with the critiques, I'm going to let Patrick and Jamie start. Come over and sit over here, yes.
How about for the first one, you kind of start us off?
You want to start me off?
Yeah.
I'm not an AFC fan. Well, no, actually, looking at this, I like the action. I wish on this one, I shot sports before, but it was for school, and so I don't think I'm the professional sports, but I do like the fact. Who shot this? That's the wrong question to ask. I love where you're at. How did you get on the sidelines there?
Oh, I had shoot Miami games. That was the first one, so now.
Have you done sports shooting before?
That was the first.
That's first. One of the things this is not a critique on this image, but it's something I will say, guys, though, is something that a lot of people who shoot sports do is they know the sport. I know it's really weird saying that, but for anyone who's never shot sports before, know your sport. Because let's say, some of you guys are going to know, some of you aren't. Brady's back. There's 3 receivers. There's a tight end, but he's a little bit far away. Is a running play happening? Probably not. It's probably going to go for a passing play. I know it's weird saying that, but did you know a running play was happening on this one? So the only thing I wish on this one, I love where it is. I wish it was a little bit tighter in, and I wish the field a little bit angled off. Because right now it's tilted this way to me, like it. So in photojournalistic photography, you're able to go ahead and rotate and crop it. And so with this one, it's tilting this way just slightly, but actually it kind of adds into it too because it shows the movement that way. But when I'm looking at that line, it's the only thing I mostly notice, and I say, oh, I wish it was done this way. Are you looking at the background, is that a 70 to 200, or is it 70? 100 400, and then.
You don't get this close up.
Yeah.
Oh, the only reason I'm asking is I'm looking at the background. It's not really. It looks like it's 5.6 or 8.
Yeah.
And so.
I wish I had a 2.8. Yeah.
It's not necessarily a 2.8 that I was looking. It was more of a. I was wondering if you cropped it in from another shot, or is this as you shot it?
No, I was cropped.
It was cropped a bit. Only because I'm looking at the background, and I'm looking at how blurred out it is, and it looks like it was someone who. It was one of your first few games, the sideline of a game, and you haven't gotten a 300 or 400 yet, and you're going to get one because that's what I see. Because I'm looking at more of the background, but I'll let these guys talk. I'm a sports fan, guys. I'm looking at this and I'm like,
Okay. Okay. So I'm not as big of a sports fan, so me personally, what I'm looking for in this image is I love how the movement is kind of captured here. I like the direction. I think the tilt angle kind of works because I just feel like that player is kind of driving us towards that left end. The one thing I probably would have wanted is the left end to be just a little bit more extended so I can kind of see more on that side to kind of balance it. Same thing if you have a model and you have the model looking in one direction, you don't want to crop that image right here because you kind of want to know what the model's looking at, kind of see that space. Other than that, I think maybe I want to say maybe increase the saturation of the colors just a teeny bit. Or, oh, wait. Oh, no, actually, it's really good on here. Never mind. Sorry, that's the projector is kind of washing it out. Okay, yep. No, I like it. It's very sharp. You said this was your first time shooting sports? Okay. Yeah, no, I think it's great.
what do you have to say, Patrick?
Yeah, what is all this? Actually, the only thing that I would do, literally, is just crop in. And later, when you're shooting this type of shot, is tilt your camera up just a little bit, get a little more crowd in the shot, because that way you capture their excitement as the guy's driving for the touchdown. Okay. Because right now, yeah, it's tight. You kind of see this guy just lunging for every yard he can get. He's almost to the goal line. But if you actually capture a little more of the game experience, and just tilt it up just a little bit, you get rid of that grass line. And yeah, that's pretty much it, though. And you can crop out. I'm guessing that's probably a DB, the guy that's the Dolphins with the 220-something. You can crop him out totally. He's irrelevant in the shot.
You can move the picture.
How?
Just click on it and move it around. So if you bring it to the edge of the screen, you can say, you can crop this up. If you left click on it here, you can say, this is what you see.
Oh, okay.
Or you can zoom in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But, oops. But, yeah, if you left a little bit more, up top here, maybe leave yourself a little more room to breathe. Okay. Then you can actually see the guy driving for that touchdown a little bit better. Because this other guy back here, yeah, who cares? Nobody. But other than that, yeah, no, it's a solid shot. And you got him, he's down pretty much, If, as far as being under review, he definitely would be down by contact. So other than that, yeah, good shot.
In the future, something I would say, something I would love to see is the face players. I mean, in your position, it's a little bit difficult. It looks like a sideline shot, so forth. I love when I was shooting just a few games that I shot. It was unfortunately at Clark University, and so it was always the other team scoring. So, and I wish Rob was here because he works there. He's part of the admin board, Rob Clark, and he was like, "Yeah, our teams were terrible back then." I guess they still are, but I wish I could see their faces, but I wasn't expecting to see a score shot, so I'm happy. All right, so we'll go to the next one here, guys. Jamie?
Thank you. Okay. This one here. So we are at a monument. Got seal for the Department of the Navy and United States Marine Corps. So it's a memorial. The one thing that's just standing out to me instantly is I see the use of selective color here to kind of like highlight the American flag, but the American flag is kind of chopped off at the top. It would be better if that entire flag was captured, I think. When you're going to use selective color like that, I think it's important to make sure that your subject, whatever it is you're coloring in, is pretty much completely in the frame. Here I see the use of the angle, and I like the use of the angle. I just think if the elements were if the angle probably just a little bit lower maybe, so that you could get the entire flag in there. I do like the grit of the shot. I like the fact that it was done in black and white. I think that kind of adds a historical element to it. Patrick?
Yeah, besides what Jamie's talking about, selective color, and also just capturing the entire element, that's one thing you definitely can improve upon. But other than that, maybe a little bit more of the face instead of staring, with just the profile. Maybe swing it around so you get 3/4, so you're actually looking off a little bit more instead of just straight sideways, but maybe upwards a little bit. That's pretty much the only thing I would say for this one, besides just taking a step or two backwards. And because as you're walking around, you see this shot, but if you just walk twice over, you just get a slightly different shot with a little more impact as far as the way your lines go. So this one's a little too up and down for me, because all you see are trees going straight up, the poles going straight up, but it's kind of cross, and it's not as interesting if you don't have lines that kind of go from one to another part of the, because you don't get lead anywhere in the shot. You're kind of stuck right there. So that's the only other thing I would suggest, maybe just try a little bit of the angles. That's about it.
Yeah, good to hear me be a photo teacher. This is how I used to be a showcase. Actually, this image, there's a couple things. I'll start with selective coloring. I'm actually not a fan of selective coloring, but in this case, I think it works well. The only thing on this process that I'm looking at is, was this done in Lightroom? I'm not going to look who did it, but can you guys say yes or no? How was it done? In Photoshop. The only thing I really see is I see still some red in the trees and all. I don't know if that's me or so on. Like, you guys see that?
I noticed brown.
Yeah, brown and so on. So if it was a channel decrease, I'm not going to ream it on that, but on the technicality, I say that's something you can do where you can isolate the flag a little bit more and decrease the saturation of that around there. Where I am going to talk as an instructor is a couple of things. Your eyes go to the brightest part of the image. That's how it always is. So using burning and dodging, what I would do is actually go ahead and dodge his face just a little bit. I think it was you. So I would dodge his face a little bit because he has equal subject matter to the flag itself, even though the flag is in color. He is of worth to the image. So by brightening him up a little bit, your eyes would go down there too, because Right now, it's a lot darker down there and a lot brighter up there. Something that you almost you did a little bit okay, but you almost got it in the middle. A horizon line right in the middle of an image tells you that there's two images. That segments it off, so you're looking at the bottom and you're looking at the top. If you guys hold your hands up and cover the flag, it can almost look like another picture on the bottom, and then you cover him, and it looks like another picture up top. So what's normally suggested, this is suggested, is you do a 2/3, a 1/3 or a 2/3, not a 1/2 or close to 1/2. Because if you get too close to 1/2, it really looks like two images. And so you have such a strong dividing line right in the middle. But looking at it, most of you guys know, mostly meet and shoot people, I'm a huge military fan. So I'm looking at this and I like it. Something that I kind of wish is the flag was a little bit more billowing sideways. It's a little bit difficult in this situation because you kind of it's as is shot wise. But I would love to see more of that. Like Jamie said, seeing more of the flag itself, but also seeing it billow sideways rather than straight back would be nice. On the technicality side, that's what I mostly notice here. It's just going to be something I'll say processing-wise when you're doing selective coloring. Because the thing is, sometimes on our computer screens, they will look, you'll see a little bit of that, but as soon as you start printing it, if it's depending on the printing process, it could be a lot more exponentially worse in the sense of seeing bleeding and so forth. So all of a sudden, if you printed this and you're getting red smear and you didn't notice it on your computer, it might be something that you may notice. So it's one of those things for those who don't know. In Photoshop, what you can do is you can select that outer area and say what color information exists in this area, and it'll show you a little bit of red. It'll show you a little bit of blue. So there is a technique on how to look by highlighting what you think might be the problem area, and it'll give you that information. So right now, that's what I see. I think mostly lightening up his face, I think, is really going to increase the quality of the image because it's so much brighter on top. And then if you have a chance, get a little bit lower, bring that bottom portion a little bit down. The cool part about that, guys, is when you get lower, if you have a background element, he raises up, your background lowers down. And so his face isn't blocked by that wall anymore, or it's not directly behind him, going through his head. That wall will lower, the background will lower, he will get higher, and he will actually be standing closer, looking closer to the flag. So by going only about a foot or a foot and a half lower, you would have had him right by the flag. So, all right, guys.
What memorial was this? Okay. Small town memorial. Got it. Okay.
Look next. And I forgot the mic. You guys need to speak up. I'm so used to speaking out here. Thanks. Project.
Okay. This one, just right off the bat, it kind of grabs me. I mean, I'm a fan of the color. I really love the fact that the image is very crisp, very sharp. Yeah, I'm a sucker for good colors. Here you've got the good depth of field going on in the background, so everything's nice and blurred. I guess, let's see, there's many things about the image that I love, but the one thing that's standing out right away that I would have liked is just a little bit of context in terms of was this part of a festival? It looks like it's photojournalistic, so I can understand that maybe I don't need to know more of the context, but just I feel like she's looking off at something, and it kind of makes me want to see what the bigger scene was. But I do like this as a close-up shot.
Patrick?
Yeah, sometimes when you take a shot like this without context, you don't really know where their eyes, what they're doing. They're just kind of staring. But if you actually had them where they were engaging you, that might be a totally different photo, but it might be one that you would remember a little bit more because it's one that you actually made a connection with this person who's in this other, element wearing, traditional garb, very colorful. But when it's kind of like a snapshot sometimes, then you don't quite get that engagement when you just kind of look at it. And you're wondering, what is she why is she lost in thought? And sometimes you don't quite get but half the story right now. So, but otherwise, like Jamie said, definitely everything's pretty crisp. And you definitely have thin depth of field so that you definitely separate her from anything behind that may be really distracting where you're going, hey, what's going on back there? But yeah, so that's about it.
So, whoever shot this, were you planning this or were you lucky? Like, a little bit of both. The only reason I ask is on a technical level, you did the best you can in that situation. The light's behind her, and the lighting's even. And so you did good. You did really good there. And I wanted to note that on a technical level, guys, when you're doing editorial shots like this, and you really don't have a flash and all that, if you notice light's hitting her from behind and she has even light on her face, good job there. Nice reflection in her eyes too, and I want to go ahead and zoom in with that, because the only issue about having a light behind someone is sometimes your eyes get dull. Are you squatting down and right in front of me like a pavement? Yep, I love it. So is it Khmer or Hmong or what race? Do you know which one though? Like there's a couple of dragon boats. It's interesting. I love her outfit. So it reminds me of a Hmong or so.
I didn't know they were more than what this was every fall. I thought there was only one in Georgia.
It's actually an interesting thing. You guys ready for a short history lesson here? That I'm Cambodian, but I'm part of Vietnam that used to be Cambodia. And it's called Khmer Krom, which is the south part of Cambodia or south part of Vietnam. It was given as a dowry to a Vietnamese princess back in the day. So these are Cambodian people living in Vietnam, and this is like their national sport. But I think there's a few other ones. I'm looking at this outfit, and it looks more like either Hmong or Mongolian. The Hmong people, if there's any war vets, any like Vietnam War vets, you guys may have known them. They were the mountain people that helped the U.S. and they were moved out of their territory and put in Wisconsin. So I don't know if they got it better or not, but essentially, what I'm looking at that there is lights from behind her. Technically, I like this shot. What I like about it, and I don't know if this is what you want, is guys, if I'm on the web and I'm looking up Dragon Boat Festival, this is the kind of a picture I expect to see. I don't know if you guys can see that, but on that level, I think it works great. And so I'm looking at it because you got good sharpness, you got good clarity, you got good separation in the background. This is my preference in how I shoot. I'm a rule of thirds shooter, so I would probably move a little bit more, crop a little bit more this way. But that's kind of subjective. I like expressions. I think we already kind of know that there's an outfit there, and so maybe a little bit in closer, put the subject more there. Exactly. It's one of those things where this is where it's a difficult one, because the other thing too, as I mentioned to you guys, the brightest part of an image is what gets your attention, and the brightest part of the image is unfortunately background elements. And so, but in the end of it all, I think there's also her collar and so on. So there's a lot of I like it. The thing is, when I was asking you, and I wasn't trying to create a scene there, is if you got lucky or if you planned it. So.
She just happened to be facing that direction, so the sun wasn't hitting her
Yep.
hard. So that's where I say the lucky part came in, the direction she happened to face.
Well, that's actually where you did well. One of the things I teach in a portraiture class is if you're taking a picture of someone, what is the most important thing in the picture? The person. Exposed for your subject. And so even with the difficulties you have, the background, yeah, you can argue that the shirt's overexposed over there. You know what? I don't care. This is why I'm a bad critiquer on a technical. I don't care that it's overexposed on the left. You exposed her perfectly. This image came up, and I knew exactly what I was supposed to look at. And so that's what I like about it. Could you do more later? You could, but you know what? I think the group, they would look at this and they would say, hey, we could use that. The comments that Jamie and Patrick made about, what's the story and all, I can see that too. But on my end, I'm looking at it more and saying, hey, it looks like a cool place, and I kind of want to check it out. She has outfits on, and so, all right. This is not people, but it'll work anyways. All right. So I guess I'll start with this one. When it comes to symmetry, I really love the way this looks. Something I would have done is straighten it out. It is not straight. Like when you're playing symmetry games and you're doing that type of composition, straighten it out. So let me see here. Load up Photoshop. You guys probably weren't expecting this, but we're actually going to go into Photoshop and show you. Because I love the colors. I've always been a fan of blues and oranges and blues and browns. So the colors immediately I like. I wish when the image comes back up. Let's see here. No. There we go. My poor laptop. It used to be. Nope. Don't need this. What is this? Charity drive thing. I'm trying to remember what I was showing people. And why is this acting so slow? It used to be such a fast computer, and now it's all sad. My little i7. Should have done it in the Lightroom, but 1 second. Sorry, guys. Eventually, this will.
Does this table out this way, or is it just trying to figure out? That's just the way it is.
It looks like it.
It just kind of goes tilted to the right.
Let me see here. I want to go there. Was this a handheld shot? Whoever shot it? Okay. I think I know who shot it. Oh, that's why. I need to escape that. Sorry. That's it. All right. So guys, if I view ruler, move this down. This right here is what annoys me. If you guys didn't see exactly why I said it wasn't straight. So I'm going to duplicate this. See that? Control T. Straighten it out a little bit. There you go. All right, so that was the frame element that I was looking at, but it's still a little bit like it's kind of where it's shot, but that was the immediate thing that I noticed concerning colors and so forth. This is where I'm going to read you, Sheldon. This is you, right? You should have handheld it, buddy. Like that's the thing. Like it's a great architectural shot. It looks there, and you got the shot, but that's going nowhere. You know, that's gonna be there. And so you brought a tripod here tonight. You should have brought a tripod with you. And set it up. And I know this sounds mean, guys. I love this guy, and you know, and you can't have it with you all the time. But if you shot that down, if you brought it down ISO 400, because your dark portion's up there, you guys can't really see it. But if I get in closer, you guys will notice it's noisy. And it may not necessarily, I mean, I'm not necessarily going for sharpness, but something that's really cool is if you did a longer exposure, color saturation will go up, stuff like that too if you use lower ISO. So it's one of those things where you could have, like, it could have worked to your benefit using a tripod there. 1/8 of a second. So, but handheld at 1/8 is a good job. So,
It's a steal.
yep. So something you may want to explore using post-processing is you can see some noise detail here, but it's not necessary. Like there's color noise detail. Maybe go ahead and like just darken it. Yeah, just black it out. Jamie,
I'm not crazy about the white balance in the background, where it's all just that tungsten-y color. It's, to me, it kind of robs any impact of the image, because it's sometimes tungsten mixed in with whatever is in front of you, and you get that two different kind of white balance. It's like your eyes just kind of stop in one section or the other, and you just kind of lose interest. But You could actually paint in white balance on the top side and literally just. I'd probably.
the difference.
But it's like it's that weird grungy orange.
That drab kind of.
Yeah, it's not an appealing color. I would go like more yellow, more than anything else, but you kind of slide it around and see what makes it pop a little bit more, so that you get more of the architecture as well as the shapes that you're trying to, push through in the bottom.
I would up the exposure more on top. I agree with Patrick there, but let me see something here.
Because I mean, is it really that color in real life, or is it a little bit lighter?
So, for example, the trim on the turret behind the toolbar is the same color white, but it's white.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do, guys, right there.
Non-trim work is yellow.
Maybe a little bit brighter. We'll see how it is. And too much. Filter. Oh, keep on talking, guys. While I.
I mean, I'll just say it's a beautiful image. I think a lot of it is very pretty. It's inviting. I think keeps one of us kind of jealous. Instantly.
What's very inviting?
I kind of like the use of like leading lines here because the first thing I noticed down below was symmetry, and then those lines that are kind of like almost saying like, "Hey, jump into the pool." So I feel like invited into the image, and then I see the context of the scene behind me. I do agree with Patrick and the color back there, but Trent's kind of working on that now.
The pool was a very generic first. If you approach the two circular pools from the other side, you look like seats.
Oh, that's cool.
But it was just, I needed to be like 50 foot tall ladder to get to that shot.
Yeah. Yeah, but handheld at 1.8, that's still great capture. I understand that you can't always have your tripod. Sometimes these things just kind of happen, and you got to work with what you have. So
I find a trash can or something. Set it there.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you can up the contrast and saturation to it and so forth. I think the main critique that I have is the balance. You're predominantly middle focused right here. By lightening the back up, color to me, it's a maybe. I think I definitely see Patrick's point, mostly with as we enhance the colors here, kind of get a little bit. But I think upping the brightness will actually sell the whole thing, rather than this one where, like, I hate to say it, I love you. This looks like something where you walked by and you're like, I want to take a picture of this and see what Trent says. And being, you and I know each other. If you set up a tripod, and the cool thing about a tripod, so you guys don't know, if you go to F16, all those light points that you have become stars. Might be what you want, might not be what you want, but it also creates a lot of like nice reflection in the water, and there's some really killer stuff that you can get out of there. And so it would have been nice to see that too. And I think if you had those two, if you had the handheld one and that one, I would choose that one. Mm-hmm. Something I will go ahead and say this, guys. A stable surface is a stable surface. If you're at a pool, if there's a pool chair somewhere,
I was braced on the table.
Braced on the table. So you weren't doing 1/8 handheld. Oh, so we learn now. Because the looking at the sharpness of the image, and also the selection of aperture, and kind of the crop and the composition, is what it's just the deductive reasoning on all these little small aspects that lead into that. Also the ISO level. Let me see. Yeah, it's let's see here. I'm assuming it's this looks like either 64 or it doesn't say. Do you remember?
This was
Really? So, yeah. I don't know. the underexposed levels look a little bit. All right. Next one. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Good job on using one of the hardest lightings. First, I know you may have gotten lucky or so on, but you guys got it at a good point. Something I love about this image is framing. The frame element of the hood around his face, and also kind of going back to the thing that was mentioned before, the brightest part of an image is what you look at. Bam, right in the middle, his face is bright, then it has a framing element, then it gets bright again, but you know what the meat of the thing is, but it also highlights, a little bit of his personality here, which is the guitar. That's pretty good looking. What do you guys say?
Yeah, I think it's also it's got that style to it that just invites me into the photo for a different reason. It makes me want to kind of know what his story is right away. It's almost like it's telling me a story in one shot, and it's conveying an emotion here. Even though, like, compare this one to the young lady who's looking off in the festival picture. Like here, because he has more of a concerned emotion, I'm wanting to understand him. Whereas the girl's face had more of just like a blank expression, so I wasn't really sure what to think. But here now, the framing is really good. Everything is nice and tight inside there. You got his hands, you got his head, everything, the guitar. Good job with balance of light and dark. Top right is lighter, and generally the bottom left is a little darker. So I think it's good balance.
Is there a reason why it was square versus any other aspect ratio? Versus using. Okay. Yeah, that's good because that's good because sometimes, as you have stuff in the background that doesn't sell the photo, yeah, get rid of it. So no, it's a good choice. Because sometimes you get locked in, maybe, oh no, I got to keep this 4x6, but I got all this crap. What am I going to do? Yeah, just square it off. Just take what what people really want to see in the photo. So yeah, I do like it because as he's playing the guitar, he's obviously either thinking or about to sing something maybe heartfelt or something that's true to him. So because you can have 101 different expressions where this photo is like crap, but this one, no, he's actually in the moment, so it's good. I like it.
Joke's on you. He was actually about to sing Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball.
Yeah. What aperture were you at? What camera?
I would say
7,000.
It looks like it's about 4 or 5.6. Actually,
I think 5.6. Everything in the back behind it's nice and clear as well. So.
Oh, it's f9. So, to D40. What I was going to say, though, is that's what I like about it. One of the weirdest things that when I do a workshop once in a while is people will be like, oh, you're shooting f16. How can you shoot at f16? And I know it's weird saying that in hindsight, like us, but like we're at studio and so on. I'm looking at the shot, and it conveys to me as much as a picture that's shot at 1.8 or 2.8, where people will tell you, oh, it separates the background. I think you did a good enough job cropping. It is a little bit, it's a little bit bright back there, but I like the way this looks right here. Maybe I would explore burning the edge a little bit, which is darkening over there. I will look or see, but the only problem with darkening pure white is it turns into gray, and it doesn't. There's no more information. It just turns into a palette of gray. But just to see if it helps in any ways, because once again, it does take, or the brightest part of an image does show. And so let's move forward to the next one. Nice. Who is that? All right. My critique here is, as a rule of thirds person, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to necessarily go ahead and push this as a always must, but the something that I told my students in the composition class is when you use the rule of thirds, a person's more than likely going to read your photograph and not look at it and say, this is a snapshot, here it is, here's it's done. When you have something that's off to the side, kind of like this one, your information isn't dead right in the center. And in the sense of LeBron right here, bam, this is what you got. This is a perfect Sports Illustrated type shot where this is it, you're not looking at anything else. So I know it's a weird critique to say that, but that's kind of there. I wish, yeah, I like it. As always with all sports, I wish there was a ball in it. That's the general rule. And so we all know what it is. You know, it's happening, right? Is it actually like it's not. No, this is the Hawks. Sorry, that's a Hawks logo, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you chose the one without the ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Looking. Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, you've seen most all the sports shots that are actually used. Like, more than likely, there's going to be whatever device they use in the sport is in it, type thing. So that's a safe critique on my answer. I wish the ball was in there. Now, Jamie and Patrick.
So yeah, he took my #1 critique there. It's like I wanted to see the instrument that the athlete is interacting with. In this case, is the basketball. Other than that, I think it's a good sports shot. It's yeah, a little bit noisy. Do you remember what ISO you were at here? Okay. Yeah, it's right.
Do you remember what lens you were using?
I shot that with an older one, so that's like I think that's my 55 to 300 lens.
Okay. Your 300 is 5.6
Yeah.
at the long end. So you're at 7.1 here. I'm not going to read you on that one, but if you went down to 5.6 from 7.1, that's 2/3 stops. That means you would have gone to 64. I'm trying to remember. It would be 4,000. You would be at ISO 4,000, which could help a little bit. But what's the shutter speed?
Shutter speed is
1/640. Yeah, you do that. Yeah, you can't really worry about some of this stuff here, but you actually have this little latitude of adjustments you can make. Being that with sports figures, most if he's doing free throw like that, before he releases the ball, you can safely shoot it like 1/200th to 1/250th before he releases it. And so you're at 1/160th or 1/640th of a second at ISO 6400. You could go to 5.6, you could go to 1/200th of a second, and you would have been at ISO 200 or 2000, ISO 3200. So it's it's one of those things where something I've noticed with the 2 shots that you've had is you have good focusing and so forth. So technicalities wise, were you worried in any ways about how you shoot, or have you been pretty comfortable? Have you been pretty comfortable with your camera control and shooting? Because it looks like you're doing really well. So, on the 2 shots I've seen.
Yeah, I'm trying to get I also try to shoot the eye when I'm shooting first, but I know the strategy. I'm going to have to work on my composition when it comes to portrait. I do pretty good at landscape shots, but
I love you already. You said you're focusing on the eyes, which is the most important thing. So you have it pretty fast. You can say anything completely wrong. I'll be like, that's fine.
Now, when you do sports, do you also take shots in landscape orientation?
I did, but this was
Right, but if you backed off your zoom, could you actually shoot one where you basically just get them from torso up so that you still get the hands, but because we don't really care about this stuff here. But you could sit there and do it this way. You can actually get a little bit more of the crowd in there. You know, the anticipation whether or not he made it or not. Because to me, that way you can read it left or right instead of this could be more like a basketball card. Where he's actually versus telling them a story. Because a lot of times, as you take more and more shots, first nailing the focus, nailing exposure, next thing is what's the story. So that's the only thing I would think of. Maybe take some of these, flip it around, take some landscape, just experiment where placing him. 1/3, 2/3, half. You know, just see what looks good. So that's what I would focus on. Is once you and yeah, definitely try to figure out your aperture math. You know, like Trent was saying, you're pushing up your ISO so high that it's so noisy that, you know, when you get your shot, you're like, you know, everything's in focus, but it's so noisy that you can't really use it. Definitely figure out ways to back it down a little bit.
In that case where you look at a situation like this and say, most times when you in this setting, and maybe shot goes off that, and two different settings, if you look between those, you might not have time to think of and do some action shots, and by the time you get into the setting,
Yeah.
you miss the shot.
In this case, I ended up at a lens. I know what the problem was. My lens only it was a 3.5 to 5.6 lens.
Right.
And I do have a f2.8 lens. So in this case, if I could open that aperture up a little bit more, then
Well, that was the
Just zoom
outcome of
out.
this when you were at 7.1. And so you could have gone to 5.6. Like, that's one of those things. One of the things I did as a critique as an instructor is I never wanted to tell a student to do more, you have to buy something. It was more of a, you have this lens, it's just 5.6, but you were at 7.1. Something to know in the future is you can explore that. Oh, sometimes we're just shooting whatever
Yeah,
it is.
right.
I'll never forget the fact that I'm at LeBron and he's at the line. Hey, I'm going to take a shot. You know, I'm sorry if it's ISO 25,600. I'll fix it later. At least, you know, the reality of the matter is sometimes you're just shooting what you have. In hindsight 2020, we can always tell you, but you got the shot. You're showing a picture that only you got, that none of us got, with whatever settings you are. So, you know, I never forget about that. But the main thing, I know we're beating a dead horse. I would like to see the ball because it would be nice too to kind of like get the reaction if he made it, or that anticipation too. Like I would have loved in a game one when it was 95 degrees and he's at the free throw line and there's sweat coming down his face before he cramps up and falls down, which it sucks because I'm actually a big LeBron fan. But you know, that story would have been nice there. But good job there.
Yeah, and just remember, to your credit, and to anyone's credit who works with like sports in action, in a shot like this, there is less going on the court, and even in his mind, there is going on in your mind as a photographer. So you know, you're balancing so many other things to just try to get a shot like this. So I think that's great.
Sheldon, to answer your question concerning custom settings, cool thing about basketball and so on sports, they tend to go at even the lighting out. So you'll find most of your settings if you stay within a certain thing. Works great. One of the few things that are different, like in baseball, is on the higher end lenses, you can actually set a focus lock button, and it will go immediately to where you blocked focus before. And so if you're shooting like baseball and the pitcher's on the mound, you could go around with your 400mm lens, but all of a sudden it goes back to the pitcher, you press the button, and it goes there. So there are options like that, but most of the time people don't have the time to switch the top switch. There's a button that they would hit. And so those are the buttons that they would use. So.
Have you ever used auto ISO? In my opinion, I did it manually.
Right.
I would never know so this is over. Something chemical setting where you can activate all so that you
Yeah, there's
So you never go above 3200. It's crazy.
Not about that particular picture, but just about shooting sports in general. Now I shot it at the free throw because I had a really hard time trying to capture motion in that environment with the lighting being so low. You know, other than trying to get up fast and win, what kind of low programs would you recommend?
How familiar are you with basketball? How familiar are you with basketball?
Well, near enough to where most of the time I try to keep my focus near the basket as much as possible.
And this is a weird concept because if you know, like, I'm not saying if you know sports, in general, if you know the sport, on every sport there's one called peak motion, where when a person hits peak motion, they're actually moving about half the speed as when they're like, if you're in the middle of the jump, you move twice as fast as when you're on the top of the jump. And so those are the time periods as you get used to it that you're shooting. Like LeBron, when he's on the top of his jumper, you don't take a picture of him while he's jumping. You take a picture while he's up top because now he's slowing down, stopping, slowing down, then speeding up. And so as you're familiar with the sport and familiar with what they're going to do, the only problem with LeBron is he's such a monster of a player. He's passing and doing all of that. That's where having a faster lens is going to help. That's where having a 1.8, a 2.0. And in your case, one of the best basketball lenses is an 85 1.0. So, it's used really well. Don't if you ever are you a Canon shooter or an Nikon shooter? Don't get an 85 1.4. If you're a Canon shooter, don't get the 85 1.2. Those are the nice portrait lenses. The 85 1.8s are super fast. And I'm not saying buy one, but those are lenses that allow you the luxury of really fast focusing. They allow shallow depth of field. Instead of now at 7.1, you're at 1.8. Your ISO is like ISO 400. And now you can go to ISO 1600 and shoot 2,500 a second. And you're stopping all action at that speed. Because for professional sports players, it's 1/2000th of a second and faster. For kids, like Little League, it's 1/500 to 1/2000. And so, and I guess it's like, for the Dolphins, it's like 1/100. I hate the Dolphins. I hate the Dolphins and I hate the Mets. So, but does that answer?
Yeah, yeah.
I know it's weird saying, read the sport, but it kind of goes back to, a couple of the other things. If you're a baseball fan, if the cleanup hitter's up, and there's 2 people on base and there's 0 outs, you're gonna go for that swing because that guy's probably, and it's a 3-0 count. I'm a big baseball fan. He's gonna get a meaty pitch right in the middle. That's where so you just add up to it, and then concerning motion and all that, just remember peak motion. You're gonna have to it's just practice. That's perfect. Practice makes perfect, and then you'll be able to do that. Anticipation, and then a faster lens allows you the luxury, allows you the insurance. All right, guys, I love the bokeh in this one.
Yeah, very pretty circles of confusion back there. Again, it's a nice sharp image. Your subject is captured there in the image pretty well. I think.
I'm wondering why it's having that.
Why it's doing that watercolor effect up there?
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What else is that?
This is. No, I didn't say.
So this is yours again? Yeah. Mr. Extract the information.
So.
Is that aggressive? Is that aggressive post on that buddy, or is that?
It's not like that over here. It's not like that over here, but it's only like that up here.
All right, so it looks like it's not like that on. So we'll ignore that. It's just on the projection. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's like an inch.
Right. So the first thing it reminds me of is like a piece of abstract wall art that might be like on, in some contemporary office maybe, or even just like I'm guessing this is food, and it might be like on a website for restaurants featured dessert or something. But then that leads me into wondering well, what am I looking at? I kind of want to know the rest of well, what's that delicious looking stuff below it? So maybe if it was like a piece of cake and that's like a garnish on top of it, yeah, like flan or is flan, okay. And the only other thing I can say that kind of throws me off is I like the detail, but here, once it starts taking on the greens and reds inside of here, it makes me think of like an alien structure rather than dessert. So, right. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. I understand what you were going for, and I see it. Me personally, maybe I would have tried just exploring coloring it in, just taking the hue and just kind of taking the same color of the rest of the garnish and trying to paint over it. But what do you guys think?
I think you have a lot of nice elements scattered too far apart from each other. Personally, I would have gone up to would reshot it, got a little bit lower, and put the light behind, or bring it closer in, and do that because you can't crop that out because that's great information there. But I feel like your media photo is actually the wedding or the sugar, so forth. So, truthfully, it's a nice art piece, but what I would do is I would showcase the dessert. I'll zoom out, and get it from there.
In that case, that's a Photoshop that we're focusing on as the desserts, and this one is intended for the abstract.
Yeah, I love the abstract part. That's why I would like see as it gets closer and as it gets so on. I actually like that more because it's that's my personal opinion, but I love the lighting that's up there. So that's where I would reposition myself and get the lighting in there somewhere. I'll raise the dessert. Please see back up. It's only because I feel like it's cropped in too much at the top right there. So Patrick.
I think if you cut out the entire base of that thing, it would make for a more interesting abstraction. And if you actually cut out the top layer where the green is and crop it so it's right underneath it, you could actually scrub out the green saturation, and you can kind of get rid of the distracting green slide-looking stuff. But so once you crop it out, you can literally just pull that green slider dot, and it's all gone, and it takes more of the characteristics of everything around it. But it's either that because that base kind of, I don't know, the base to me doesn't really add much to it because if you shot it conventionally, you raise your camera up so it's more of a shooting down, so it's like an Instagram food shot. Then at least the base makes sense. Yeah, but the base doesn't quite make sense in the shot because the most interesting part of it is all of the stuff that's going left and right, up and down. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because actually, if you cut out the bottom part, at least it's not food. It's actually this abstract thing that's out there. But when you can see that it's food, and then you're just trying to make something out of it, then you still always anchor to a piece of food. At least I am, because I want to eat it.
Yeah.
Because before I didn't realize it was food. I was like, oh, what is? Oh, I'm like, oh, it's food.
Why the colors stay off?
Well, I have that photo. What's that whole thing?
It looks like it's 16-bit.
Yeah.
I'll actually try to figure that out in just a second. We're going to go to the next one, but we'll see why this projector is
it could be like some of the bits are definitely lower.
it's on tape.
The gradation is definitely quite chunky.
Yeah. All right, guys. If your picture doesn't look 100% accurate, I'm sorry. The projector should be showing, but it's not. All right. So this next one, looking good. Good sharpness. I like the. Let's see here. It is a studio light. Flashlight. Yes, contact lenses on, right? Yeah. Okay. It's one of those things that doesn't bother me. You just see the lines. Do you do studio photography a lot? Do you do studio photography? Yeah.
I actually used to, I have a laser and soft bottle off to the side, and I was trying to, it was shot in daylight, but trying to kill the enemy light.
Is it strobe or is it a constant light? Is it always on? Oh, nice. Proud of you. I can't say it, so I could be sued. David Hobby's thing. I love offshoot camera. Strobus. Can't see it, buddy. I'll let you guys critique it first.
I like it. It's a good balance again of light and dark. Good sharpness. I can see that you're shooting to the eye. That's good. I think it's example of a good headshot.
It's a little flat though. You want just a little more dimensionality to his face. Move it just to the side, just a tad. That way, the light and the shadows will kind of give you an idea that his face is super flat. Go ahead.
Question about that, because I saw him a little to the side. I was trying to get the whole the nose thing. So how much, how they fix so that a little shadow on the nose?
Right.
How much,
You have to raise it up.
Well, what type was there a certain type of lighting style that you read that you were trying to do, like Rembrandt? Rembrandt, what you see with a Rembrandt, it's a little bit further to the side. And it creates a triangle right here. And then, so there, you got relatively close. Something I'll go ahead. This is a sneak peek for next Wednesday, guys. With our dramatic lighting, one of the things that you'll mention is you're trying to lower the ambient light. With this one, the way to do that is to bring that light really close to your subject. For those who don't know, light falls off. The further you're away from light, obviously the weaker it gets. So the closer you bring light to your subject, the further it's away. Or sorry, if the light's at Jamie, it's about 4 feet from me, right, guys? It's 6 feet, 7 feet from the background. And so, but if I move up to the light, it's 7 feet from the background and 1 foot from me. That means I'm going to be a lot brighter. It's going to get a lot darker faster over there. And so in your case, if you move the light closer to your subject, it's actually going to make the background darker. And so that's what I would have done there, because it looks like it's about.
She would also close down her aperture too.
Yeah. I would say it's about 5 feet away, roughly. Remember?
How big's your? Oh, wow.
It's a small. Yeah, it looks like a 24. Is it pretty close? You get obscenely close. That's one of those things where people don't know what to shoot with because it's outside the frame. So even if Jamie's holding up a piece of poster board to get a shot, you're not taking a picture of the poster board, you're taking a picture. So if you revisit it and just put that light right by him, the background, and then move him away from the background's going to be a lot darker. Saying such, I think it's a good soft light. I mean, if you put this online, one of the things that most people will comment on is the catch light is in the iris. I've never been one of those people who kind of say that. I love catch lights, and even if I see 2 or 3 catch lights, it doesn't bother me. But that is an online critique that a lot of people will say. And that's when the size of your light source really gets closer to the iris and cuts it off, like really into it. I don't necessarily think it's that bad on this one, but you know how it is online. People try to find anything that they can critique on. So. No, not necessarily. It's one of those. Like ideally, a catch light above is kind of nice, but even below, like the picture of the first one that you gave us, catch light was below. A catch light itself is nice. For those who don't know, since you use a flash in your camera, or as that, it doesn't have a modeling light. If you're ever taking a portrait of someone in a studio and it's really dark like this, put a flashlight on them. It'll make their iris smaller. If they don't have a flashlight on them, their iris is gonna, or not their iris, their pupil is gonna be huge. And so as soon as, like, if you're setting up studio lights, guys, and you have 3, make sure one of them has a modeling light on. Otherwise, you're gonna have giant pupils, and you won't have any iris color at all. And so just in this case here, his pupils are, yeah, those are fine. And so it looks like you still had another light in there that was on, or?
Yeah, there was daylight.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to kiss daylight. This was Thanksgiving, and this was so I don't remember if she had light on in the kitchen, but I know it was daylight also. But I wanted to try to do something dramatic with one light. Kind of like what you guys talked about.
Yeah. You're gonna be here next week? Nice. This is an inappropriate comment. I'm impressed by his chops. I like that. I wish I could grow up. All right, so next one. All right. Good studio shot. You set up the light yourself, Leo, or? All right. That's kicker light. Looking good there. Great focus on the eyes. Let's see here. Something I'll go ahead and say, guys, if you guys want,
I know it's nice to resize an image smaller, but when we do these critiques in the future, do a full-size image, because I don't want to be, this is unfair to you, but if I get closer and I zoom in, you guys got all the details, but if all of a sudden like there's artifacting, which there is compression, you guys see it over here, I don't want that to kind of like take anything away from it. And so I'm not going to comment on any like details lost, but if I get any closer in, guys, the compression is going to sort of wreck the image. So, all right. No, it's just just bring whatever size. Just bring whatever size you guys want. For those who don't know, 2048 on Facebook is like the perfect image size to put up to get the perfect clarity. So if you're setting up images and you use Facebook, do 2048 long edge, and it's going to give you really nice results. All right, Patrick, Jamie, we'll let you guys comment.
I mean, I think it's a pretty solid shot. It's definitely nice, like I said, when you have a little bit of a kicker light on the back edge to get her off the background. That's always nice to separate her just a little bit.
It looks like a digital document.
Yeah, that's the only critique.
Did you composite it? Is it a composite?
Okay, yeah. Because that's the only thing I was picking up on was that it looked a little unnatural on the backside. But the shot itself, I think she's illuminated well. She's got good color. It's very sharp. It's a good image. And if this was your first time playing around with compositing, yeah. No, but I mean, I think you accomplished it.
Now, what did you find tough about it? Just cutting her out?
Cutting around, and especially
The hairs?
Yeah, I can
It's
see right away.
always the hair. What was her? What was she on? Like green? What?
Good job.
And sometimes, like, if you can sell that you shot that at like f8 and smaller, then when you have a background that's really also rich and textured and sharp, they have to match. Otherwise, if she's like, if you shot her at like f4, then that background has to be a little bit fuzzy to sell it. But, so just make sure that if you go composite, that you want to shoot f8, f16, somewhere in between, so that when you put a background that's really sharp, that it won't look funny. So
the next one. Nice. You guys start.
I like the balance of the light and dark here. I like the use of shadow. It's cool to kind of see that the darkness of those shadows kind of coming in. The patterns in the door are really kind of intriguing, and it makes me almost want to like look at that all day and not the model. But I like the model too. It's got that grit to it again. I think it's a good thing, good usage in this shot. Yeah.
Is that a watercolor effect or is that just
yeah, that's what it's like. Strokes.
Yeah.
Happening.
Dark strokes.
I bet you if you put the that Bernoulli pattern to it, I bet you'd be kind of close. Yeah. Is that what it's called, Bernoulli? What am I thinking, Trent? I'm talking about the one that's like diagonal, and then you have two lines that kind of. It's the no, not rule of thirds, but then
Fibonacci circle.
Fibonacci. That's it. Yeah. You can almost kind of play with that and actually kind of line it up in that grid. Now, was there a reason why you chose to kind of have them all sliding downward, or did you just kind of like it just because it gave off that vibe of? No, it's fine. Yeah. Because no, but did you didn't shoot it like this? You actually rotated it. Oh, did you? Okay.
I was gonna say, I like the way it looks. I'm exploring potentially cropping out some, but I think the line up there is kind of nice.
looking at, I love the tone so forth. This is more subjective on my end. I've never been a fan of like paint filters and all that, so I apologize when I say that. It's one of those things where, but do you think it made the original image better, or this is just a supplemental to the original, like a different look, or did you do just to fix the image? Just a different look? Because I like it, but then when we zoomed in a lot, and it was sort of like animated effects, it's one of those things. It's personal, but to me, you may have noticed with my work, I don't do a lot of like, so effects. So that's, don't heed that one too much. What I will say is something I really enjoy about this is you used a situation that we all have. We don't need to take studio lights outside or anything like that. A nice, bright, sunny day, and you're able to shoot. So if anyone if you ever wanted to shoot outside, guys, bring a pair of sunglasses, really cool sunglasses. Let your models wear it. That's how you'll see a lot of fashion magazines. That's how they do it. So the first thing I noticed there is you took a situation that's normally considered extremely difficult, and you made do with it, and you made it work. See the shadows. I love the tilt. You did it on purpose. A slight tilt looks like it's wrong. A large tilt is art. I know it's really weird saying that, but you didn't. It looks like you did it on purpose. So. Looking good there. Some people will comment like they don't wish the shadows to cut off. I think it's actually perfectly cut off there. Something we haven't mentioned yet in any of the critiques, but when I taught a composition class, we talked about it as well. There's lines. There's not as many leading lines leading to him, but there is lines there, and I think it helps with the element, or helps with the elements there of how it looks. It would be nice to see, see it at a different time of the day, but I kind of like the way it looks. That's just how I feel about the paint stuff, but wouldn't necessarily worry about that too much.
I like the fact that it's also like largely white or like a rust sepia color, but then his shirt kind of like pops out of different colors. So it's not selective, but you still know where to pay attention to in the image.
Where is his right hand?
Off the screen for sure.
Oh, that was about his right hand. I asked like, where is his right hand? He said, I was like, really?
It's right down here. It looks like he's almost no.
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys where like, oh, you should have that in there. I'm just kind of curious.
That's the missing thing.
Oh, no, I don't think that's it. Like mitten fingers. So,
Maybe
he's really
he's
shadows
wearing
with his
mittens.
fingers.
Maybe he doesn't have it on because it's in Athens. So,
All right. I'm going to say this. I'm not a fan of the pose.
Yeah, the pose kind of.
But with the reason why is I think it's a pose that a lot of us will. I mean, who here immediately was like, "That's kind of an interesting awkward pose." Was anyone like that when they looked at it? That's the a nice, and I said in the beginning, like when we shoot, sometimes be creative is really nice, but seeing what's consistent. I looked at that, I'm like, that's interesting. How to make it work though? I don't know. Like, I think it's because his leg is hooked onto the tree there. Like we've seen the poses where a person has their knee up and so on. So
It kind of creates foreshortening, so his leg looks much shorter and like a little more distorted. And up here it's lighter than it actually is on this screen. I'm not sure how it is on most, but it kind of makes it a little bit more confusing because there's a little bit of less light, like in the crotch region, so you can't really tell how he's actually angled. Even though you can figure it out. It's a little.
good and aggressive filtering on there since it's below.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the post. That looks like he fell in there, and then he saw you on the camera. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" So
I don't know. Was this intentional? Is what he's asking.
Yeah.
Was that like an intentional pose, or was he just kind of getting in that and he just liked it that he was situated?
Guys, you feel free to talk too. It's more than us just critiquing. Like I should have said this earlier, but anyone want to throw anything out?
The light and dark images my first reaction when I saw it was it looked like he had was in a weird close with his face is over a picture of the tree. It looked like it was some kind of odd positive Because I think it's his right foot. It is, you know, that right foot features seems like such different lighting that over near the gate that it just seems and then my eye was drawn to the right side of his head, you can see that little design there. And that again made it look like that lighting didn't match what he was.
So I'll say this, I agree with you there. For me, when I see an image that has like darks and shadows, but then your lights are blown out, kind of like in a diffused glow situation right here, it makes me think, it puts me into a dreamlike state. So it gives like the image like a dreamlike ethereal quality. And unless that image is supposed to convey that, it throws me off. So because here the pose, I'm not really sure what he's conveying. Maybe it could be like a romance novel, like because that's where I would expect to see like a dreaminess. No, sorry, but I think the glow is an interesting filter that I don't know if I would have used personally.
Did you play with vignetting at all? Kind of burning the edges? Because you almost want to go overboard once you kind of have everything else very glowy. Go ahead and make the outer corners glowy too, because you'll kind of sell that mood versus anchoring it in reality. So.
Curiosity, what were the colors on the back? It looks like you desaturated
Blue?
the background colors. It looks like all the colors except for brown and red and stuff like that you left up. I actually like the filtering process. Since I'll explore with other images, I won't lie, the pose is really throwing me off. It's hard to critique on that one. Some of the ways I look at images is if you brought clients, your general client in, and you show them in a book, I think this would be the ones where you're looking at your other images and so forth, like the other one we looked at, be like, this is not her strongest one. And then the pose and all that. This is where I get honest with critiques, guys. That's where I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is not as strong as the other ones that I think she'll potentially show me. So, and it's a pose that really throws me off on this one. So. Sarah. Well, just in case you're watching, I love this image. I love Sarah. But let's see here. Guys, you guys want to start first? I love the lighting. Whoever did the lighting is amazing.
The lighting is great.
Is that from the Allen event, or?
It looks like.
Or is that from it might be the Allen event.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just for your reference, that hot spot right there is not really there. It's just a projector. Kind of imagine it being a little less hot spot right there.
I think this is a fun, candid shot. I think it has great lighting.
Be cropped in more.
It could be cropped in just a little bit more.
Really, I don't think there's no value to the information that's on the outside. So you don't necessarily want to crop in all the way, but you can get in closer. Bent out, yes. Actually, I think a little bit of a tilt to the glass. Actually, happy you mentioned that, because one of the things I taught in class is that in architecture and in design, if it's horizontal, it's at a state of rest. If it's vertical, it's at a state of it's strong and so on. If it's tilted, it's dynamic. And so having a slight tilt to the glass actually be really nice, even a little bit more. And so it looks like the drink's tilted too, because it looks like she's going to take a swig. So it could be one of those things, because one of the things as photographers is we have to tell a story in a two-dimensional still frame medium. And so those are some of the small little things that you can do, and I think a tilt would be really nice.
But given the fact that this is a Canon, you probably just snapped it if you could. I think it's still strong enough.
Let's see here. Easy enough.
This way?
Well, Yeah, the crop in, the color tone, it looks a little bit warm on my screen on the laptop, which is a little bit off, anyways. So with the outfit, what I would suggest is maybe explore sort of desaturating it just a little bit, not fully all the way. See how that looks. Cropping's mostly it. I kind of what I've noticed though on some of the images that we've had is we've had a lot more portraits where the subject's looking away and so on. It would be nice to see one same shot too with her looking at us. I mean it's not a critique on this one. It'll just be kind of one of those things. Looking at it though, whoever shot this, any questions that you guys have? Anybody? Nope. All right.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, you can look at her iris.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
How do you do that?
Just press right there.
Okay. Oh.
You. Well, I'm a dad. I'll buy it. You know, like it was my daughter. It's technically well done. Catch lights in the eyes. Looks cute. Got a. Sometimes an image is an image. It's not going to be anything like Pulitzer Prize winning for me, but you know, I'll buy it. I don't know necessarily what you want to hear in that. Great focus on the face. Great focus on the eyes. Cute pose. How old is she? 9, 10, 7. Difficult to deal with, or was she? Oh, it was great. As a dad myself, it's there. It's like, hey, you know, it's cute. So.
You know, even the Dutch tilt actually works. So.
You tend to shoot down close to or you get down more to shoot.
Ideally, you shoot like in this case, you're not necessarily shooting too much down. This is actually kind of down. You shoot just on anyone in general. So you took that portraiture class, but let's say when you shoot down on somebody, guys, like a little bit. Where they're sitting a little bit down. The cool thing about it is they look up at you and they define their jawline. If it's too far down, it looks bad. In this case, it's just right where it's friendly. If you go down on her level, too, it can look really good, but you don't want to go too far down. This is within that little threshold of being 50% to 65 to 60 where it's great. And so she could definitely go a little lower, but even with an adult, like a grown-up adult, it would be a cool shot, too. That's that's a nice angle there. The colors are great. The location, is that looks like downtown Oprah.
We don't have stone like that in our house. Stone like that. It's like
Yeah, I know.
it's tanner.
Yeah, nope, I like it. Just kind of echoing everything they said. It's the direct eye contact for me is the first thing. That and the smile, makes me feel connected to the image. It's a great image for a child, something that their parents will see and instantly fall in love with and like want to buy several copies. So, I like it. Color is great. Good sharpness. Huh?
I'm assuming it's Patricia. Because it says Patricia. Is this what you want to do?
I just now started getting more.
But like, if we were going to make like any photography or hire your services, this is what you something that you would want to do. Because the reason why I asked that is this is what I would put up. It's a nice, good, clean shot. Is it easily replicable for you? Did you get lucky, or did you do this on purpose?
I have 3 different girls with the first.
Is this a
Is
good
this all
job?
sunlight? Available light? Okay. No,
That's perfect. Use the tools that you need. We don't know necessarily. I think it looks great. I think it's a winner. So
yeah, I mean, as long as you use your strobes, repeat it. Yeah. That's what you want to get in the habit of.
nice angles, and people will buy it. All right. Next one. All right, looking great. Well, you got those. You got the eyes come popping out a lot. Are you doing any posts on the eyes? Yep. I mean, a little bit. It's a little bit sharp, but that's that's subjective. Like in the sense of like the edge lines and so on, but edges on your own. Like it's it's me. How do you say? In this case, this sounds really weird. I wish the background was more I wish that the background was more with her in the sense of like, she looks, she has a nice necklace on, her hair looks great, the background is boring. I know it's such a weird thing. It's a lighter color, it kind of takes away from her. I wish the crop that had less of that gray background. Some people will say I'll go ahead and mention it. I think it's slightly aggressive on skin softening. Do you guys think so, or skin softening?
Oh, okay.
I think he did good, but just looking at the details of it, maybe like
Just the forehead.
do the acne removal, and also kind of like keep texture in the skin. And I think can you zoom in? The forehead. But it might also be the compression of what to save the image at. So, because if you look at the texture on her right or left, there's that skin information over there, and it's pretty much lacking on that side and up here. And so, yeah, if you see her right cheek on our left side, you see skin information, and it's pretty much gone on the other side. So.
What do you think about the height of that line? It's like almost like right beside. If you could catch that in the shadow on the nose.
There's definitely one back here, and then there's one over here. But how high up? How high is?
Oh no,
is
Stan's right. It's pretty much. It looks like it's 4 to 5 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
On that one.
Yeah, I know. Did you have it like here, or was it like the one that's
Here.
causing that big square?
All the big square was.
Actually, it looks.
Too far, because
So, standard answer, it varies. Like, it doesn't necessarily. Well, physically you can't, right?
I couldn't do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those hindsight 2020.
Yeah, sit down. Were you just shooting this, or were we shooting? Okay.
I would lift the light if I could, but then, in the typical lighting class that I teach, just to get something different, we do say about 1.5 feet over your eye level where you set up the light. So this one's roughly lower than that. But there really isn't any concrete rule for why it should be. So it is more natural. The reason why, for those who are wondering why you lift your light just a little bit higher, is because naturally for us, lighting tends to come from above, either from the sun or from somewhere in our room. And so seeing a shadow directly to our left, or, God forbid, a shadow coming, or a light coming from below, doesn't look as natural as a light from slightly above. Can you zoom out? The color pop is great. Good studio work. Zoom out a little bit more. You also did post-processing on the necklace? Nope. So it came out pretty good. So yeah, something if you're shooting models and they're doing their hair like that and so on, something I would explore is more of the decorative backgrounds. I mean, they're not that much more expensive than the backgrounds that have patterns and so on. Honestly, and then you explore beforehand. Shoot the same model that you extracted and put in front of the brick wall. And so maybe explore, a pattern background for this, so on. All right, let's do the next one. Nice. All right. Did you guys comment? I was so happy for her that day. She went all out. It was all her that decided to go supremely avant-garde.
I like it. I wish there was a little bit more light in her eyes. But I do like the overall mood expressed in this one. It's good details, good sharpness.
One of the things you hear that people say online is don't shoot up people's noses. And no, actually, one of the things is because it gives a haughty attitude. But with her outfit and all that, I'm like, it works. It sounds weird saying this. I want to see it in black and white. Like, there's so many textures and there's so many shapes that would be interesting to see it in black and white, mostly with her lips, the dark lipstick to step on just to see. And also, when you do it in black and white, you guys notice the texture in the gold? How she has the gold mask on that she has painted on? That's going to really stand out too. It's in black and white with and so on. That's something more you notice. And when you add color to the mix, it takes a little bit of that texture. Right? As Jamie mentioned, I really wish that there was more lighting in the eyes. That was that day in the positioning of the light. I guess it's just I'm not in the mood for the gray and white backdrop, which I know where you're at when you shot this. I'm sorry, like sorry what you're given. Being that I shot that night, the same night too. That's one of those things where you guys are always welcome to choose if the lighting is too bright in the back to adjust it. And so I think it'll be interesting to see the background as well. Patrick.
Was this crop? Did you shoot that, or did you crop it in? Cropped in. Maybe a little more of the hands, just a tad, as far as her left one. But I mean, to me, it's so claustrophobic at this point that.
Fish shoes on the wall, and the only way I could get it, not stupid. I thought the same thing. I went from all hands in there. Right. I got this thing on the side.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's like the only thing. Just let it breathe just a little bit, because it is literally in your face, so much. But actually, you might want to play around with just a tad, brightening up the eyes in place. Just to give it just a little more pop, because but yeah, other than that, it's a good, nice, tight shot. It's really tight, but
No, I wasn't here for the shoot, but did you have her against any sort of dark backgrounds at all? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, maybe this isn't.
She's in there.
he's having fun with Uncle Walt. Anyone else want to comment? Your feelings?
I just noticed that the poker comes to be the front sheet with the nose out of the
Yeah, I think her right eye is a little out of focus, but I think the left is so.
Actually, right. Once again, up nose shots are always difficult. The eyes are off focus, but I'm gonna be a little bit silly here. I never really like when from far away, things are better far away. And so one of the things I used to tell my students too is learn how to use your camera, but the pictures that you remember most, if you try to technically read them for everything that's technically wrong, you'll find everything is like one of the. If you guys ever looked it up, the picture of like the sailor kissing the girl in like New York on the street, you really look at that picture, it's not sharp, or it's not like, and so it's one of those things where I've always been like, hey, it could be, but like that. So, all right, let's go to the next one.
Yeah, that shot was the same ones. Did anyone see that? There was like pictures that came out this week of the wildfire, the wedding with the wildfire in the background. Yeah. Like it was really, it's cases like where it was really noisy in the background because it was such a high ISO, but it worked. It looked good.
I like this, but of course there's a but. Using leading lines, I'm wondering what the hell is on his shoe that's creating that awesome shape. Like, is he have like its little device that's like, is it like a ski or something? You have really no control over that, but it's such happenstance on the way it's shot. You guys can see that little line that's going to his feet. These are the games that our eyes play, and so you can't even really remove that. That's not something that you can post really well, or post-process really well. You could, but it'll be, that's the first thing I noticed. The toning is actually really nice, but bright jacket and so forth. I love the black and white. I actually do like the story that comes off of this one. I hate to say that's the first thing I noticed, that shoe with that line. I wish I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's just
I'll let someone else comment for me.
yeah, no, it's just a hose. You know, it's just kind of all kludged up. It just looks like it's part of the shoe.
Oh no, I know it's not part of the shoe. It's just
Yeah.
it's perfectly kind of like
Yeah, it almost looks like it's resting on it. I see what you're
Right.
saying.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen it 100 times and I've never seen that part of it.
yeah, what's been seen cannot be unseen.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna look at this picture like a few days from now. Road trip. Are you?
Just because I'm kind of a nerd, I would have cloned out the verbiage on that pipe.
Yeah.
I would have cloned that out.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually kind of get.
I don't know. I would have cloned it out. That's just me.
Yeah, I probably agree.
Sometimes, like, does it help? Does it tell me anything about that pipe? I don't know.
Yeah, it almost looks also that the focus seems to be on the shoe. The shoe's face looks a little blurrier than the shoe does. But here, one treatment I would do overall, or at least experiment with, is probably upping the clarity a little bit to try to get a little bit more of a contrast going, or a little gritty balance.
If you play around with channels of the colors while it's in black and white, so that you push, you know, if something's tan, you push it one way or the other. That's how, yeah, that's how you can make your black and whites pop, is by pushing and pulling, you know, different colors that are existing in real life, so that they actually show up in a black and white photo. So I like that he's smoking though. Actually, he's that old and he's still smoking. Seriously, you know, he's like, you know, whatever.
And George Rice.
So, I think that those practice give you a reason for it.
What was the question? What was it? Sorry. Actually, unfortunately, no, because it's kind of just a it's line placement. It's like it's a leading line, and it's unfortunately it's one of those removed things. But you know, it's just it's the first thing I noticed. I'm a pattern shape guy, and so
Look at the image of my grandparents. I just kind of cut down a little bit. Where, you know, where they kind of burn the blacks a little bit.
Yeah, if you actually threw in some shadow on this whole edge right here, there's what you kind of defeat some of that stuff that Trent's talking about.
And then, you know, by putting a little bit more shadow in those areas, the darker areas, you're going to kind of remove the focus. The fact that sharpness might be on the shoe, and you're kind of forced to look at the face. So you can interpret that as a truth.
Just even that little front part of the hose, clone that out too. Just right in where it is. Yeah.
this is dangerous to say for me, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I consider this a perfect crop. I wouldn't crop this any other way. I know it's weird saying that, guys, but I actually really like the way this is cropped. I think it's a winner on that. I agree with them on the sense of like burning the bottom and so forth, and then it's just the first thing I noticed there, and so forth. Curiosity though, we've seen 2 of your shots or 3 of your shots already. 3. The 2 have been far away, photojournalistic style. Have you been approached by anyone yet while you're taking pictures of them? No, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Have you? Are you still doing street photography? Have you explored more of the like talking to people and still letting them do what they do, but taking pictures of them with like a 35 or so on?
There's some more interesting what's up. Somebody playing something, but somewhere I'm in closer. Chat first.
Now the reason I asked, one of my
one of the greatest things. This is a personal story time, guys. I've taught a few people. They've taken one-on-one lessons with me over time in the last 7, 8 years. There's a guy named Mike, Mike Donovan. He's an executive at Kraft or something, and he got into photojournalistic style photography, and he really fell in love with it. But he wanted to avoid shooting the far away at first, and he really wanted to get in because he was going to like India and so forth. And the reason why I ask you is he said one of the most difficult yet pleasing things and scariest things he's ever done is getting that 35 millimeter lens on a full frame and doing these street photojournalistic style shots, but they're aware that you're there because you're right here and so on. So that's why I was asking, like, what stage are you at? Because when you hit that point, the way Mike talked about it, there was such a passion in his voice. But because he was in Cuba, he was in India, he was in Argentina doing it. And I think he's doing a few shows now, and you can tell as the guy who taught him a little bit. I'm really proud of him. And that's the type of photography he's doing, and it's really nice. Because like one of the favorite shots, and I think a couple of you guys will like this, there was like a 57 Chevelle or something. And this is in Cuba, so there's a bunch of those over there. And there's just a bunch of Cuban guys working on it, and the only light is what's hanging off the hood. And there's sparks coming off of it because they're doing stuff, and that's some of the type of photography he was doing. And I know it sounds weird. This doesn't look anything like it, but I love the way this feels. And I'm sorry about the hose. Yeah, sorry. yeah. It's what I noticed, but I love the look there. All right, guys, for this next one, the thing that I noticed most of this one is there's a lot of extra information, which is down here, that I think actually takes away from the subject. So this information right here, and so that's what's confusing me looking at this one. I feel this is more of the shot around here and sort of the wildness of it. And I think I personally think there's too much information down here. Trying to see. This looks like my old friend. It's kind of weird. Her face looks like my friend Helen. It's really interesting. I'm looking at this. Something I noticed here is it is about 15 to 7 degrees, or about 10 to 15 degrees off. Do you guys see that? Let me see if I can show you. I have this weird thing about balance, or balance of the shot when I see it, and so it's one of the first things I do. There you go. That is what I think should be correct, and this is the original. Which one do you guys prefer? It's subjective, so it's one of those, it's balance thing. When I'm looking at the original one, I can't help but to think she's falling back. And on this one, I feel she's more stable. You guys see that? Okay. And so with that, where I would crop it is I think you have a lot of extra information you don't really need. No, not transform. There, I'll get in closer. Thing is, with this shot, this is where I'm a little bit brutal. I think you can get a better one if this was in a sequence of shots. This looks like it's an in-between, and I don't know who this belongs to, and I apologize if this is the only image you put up or anything like that. It does tell a story, but I believe with the lighting and so on, there could have been better photos in there to take, either the expression or the hair or so on. Jamie, Patrick?
Yeah, I think it's messy in a way that you look at it, you may just look at it once and never again, because there's nothing like really engaging at all, except maybe that she could be a little cold and her hair's not done and she's got wrapped up, but I'm not getting any real interest flowing in this shot. But that's just me.
I think one thing that's kind of throwing me off. I mean, although I know that those are her knees.
Oh no.
Just like
Not the granny ones. Not the granny ones.
when you just kind of look at it really quick, you
Keep cropping
you are kind of like wondering what's going on down there. So I would crop all that out. I would treat this as just a headshot treatment. I'd also like to see this probably in color, just because I feel like in color, as a headshot, this could be something edgy for like, you know, like Tony and Guy, or some sort of salon that's maybe wanting to advertise. It could be that kind of an image. But, yeah, I like that. If we could see a little bit more of her eyes, or that one eye, that might be good too. But I do like the mystery and the wildness behind it, because it's kind of like I want to know more about who's underneath all that hair and wrapped up in this luxe fur. And the smile is kind of like it's playful, but yeah, it's still visually intriguing.
Let's go to the next one. I think the next one is the very last one. So. Oh, we got nudity. Oh. Now you can be a robot.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's cold. That's this one. I hope no one's offended. I'm not. This is half the content of what I shoot sometimes. Lighting-wise, it looks great. Tonnage-wise, it's warm. Whoever shot this, was this purposely this color or?
It was.
So, I mean, what I mostly notice is that it's really either aggressive on clarity, or I mean, obviously there's goosebumps or so on. The lighting intrigues me. There's a lot of the. Is that a? That's thigh. There's a lot of thigh and the leg there. So I'm wondering if I wouldn't necessarily mind seeing, something more like that. It's more abstract or so on. Maybe Patrick?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because all this stuff here, it's visually uninteresting. But you have all these shapes, all the colors coming off of the skin. That's where your eyes work. So show them that. I mean,
It kind of reminds me of like a waveform, you know, when you have a crop like that, a little lower, like how you had it. The only one thing that's throwing me off, I guess, is the goosebumps. I feel like it's a little bit too much texture. Because here you kind of want to like emphasize the softness maybe of the skin. Here I'm almost
thick skin.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of like animal kind of skin, but I shouldn't be thinking that way.
Yeah.
Guys, it's difficult. It's difficult having your pictures up here, and I'm really thankful. This is our first critique one. Obviously, on our end, we're going to streamline it a little bit more in the sense of like what we're going to hit and so forth. Thank you so much for bringing your images out here. Me and Chu, we mostly do portraiture, so our acumen, our strength is mostly on the portraiture side. So if there was any that were more or less, portraiture, you didn't feel like you got the critique that you wanted, or anything, feel free to send us an email or contact us, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. My strength mostly lies in people, in the sense of portraiture and so on. Something I will go ahead and say, there are some great shots up here. I'm thankful for the ones that are for the people who brought stuff from other meet shoots. Hopefully we didn't offend anyone, and if we did, too bad. No, you guys all took it. You guys all took it well. And then on the other end too, something I tell people online is a critique is not what I tell you; it's what you decide to listen to. That's how it always is with everyone. With any this is art, guys. This is art to us, and it's actually we're emotionally bonded to our photographs. If anyone ever says anything you don't agree with them, remember, there's no reason, you don't even have to listen to them. But if they're saying something productive and it's a little bit harsh, well, it's benefit to you because you learn a little bit about it and you can ignore the rest. Saying such, guys, this was a member event. There's another member event next week. Tomorrow, I have a Lightroom class that's here. It's only $25, and I will promise you, if you haven't used Lightroom before, or you currently are, but you're not doing much with it, it will change how you do not post-processing, but file management. For those who don't know, for those who are attending their first few meet and shoots, there's a Lightroom class that I charged $50 for before that shows you how to post-process in Lightroom, and it's free. It's right on our membership page. So on. If you like it, it's a 3-hour video. Shelton, you've taken it before. Is it worth it? And he's like, I paid for it, damn it. It's always going to be free. It's one of those things where, just enjoy it. The class tomorrow actually showcases how to highlight your images, how to organize it, how to structure it, how to export it, how to watermark it, how to print it, stuff like that. Mostly it's the organization side.
I think it's because it's, so much material so that by taking more partners, you don't necessarily get it all the first time and being able to go back and see it again and look at fresh areas that there's this technique, but I don't remember where that's hidden. A lot of you use things.
And it's not a half-ass tutorial, guys. It actually shows you how to skin soften. It shows you even how to apply makeup in Lightroom.
I remember I saw that. I would see how you did that again because that was perfect.
Because I would say some of the pictures that were up here, guys, they looked great. But after you look at the Lightroom, like what you can do with it, mixed with, later down the line's Photoshop, but you don't necessarily have to do it. There's a lot. You guys can immediately crop it in and stuff like that. There's a lot that you guys can do in Lightroom. And so next week also, guys, is the hippie boho bohemian shoot at the goat farm. And also there is another member event next week, and hopefully we'll see most of you guys here. And that's for the dramatic portraiture with one light. And that's going to be a stunning one. That's going to be amazing. Hopefully we can get Elizabeth out here because she's always fun. And then you guys can shoot a little bit also. But concerning today, guys, once again, it is extremely difficult to get your images critiqued. There were some great ones up there. For the last image, we didn't necessarily say that no nudity is allowed. If it offended anyone, I apologize. Personally, I don't think anyone really cares, but now that we're a business, just saying that. There was some really, really great ones. And with that, I will choose, there's 3 of us, and we're supposed to choose the top 3. So it's not going to be a judge thing. It's going to be choose which one's your favorite. I should say, since this one confuses me the most. I'm going to say this, man. I will say this one. It's a safe bet, but that's the thing. I've never been one of those photographers who are like, ooh, it's all art, and we have to be pretentious about it. I like a nicely done technical shot, and this is the one where I looked at, and I didn't feel like there was anything wrong at all. I looked at it and I said, that exactly does what it is. And so I know it's kind of a cop out on my end, but that photo right there went up, and I was like, that's a good one. So
I'm going to go with the guitar player. I still think that's even just looking at it right now, it's a great balance of light and dark. So you have a chiaroscuro going on where you're balancing those elements, and that's a harsh light to work with.
What'd you say?
Chiaroscuro.
Tell them, because I know what it is, but it's actually important.
It's chiaroscuro is the Italian concept of balancing lights and darks. So it's used in a lot of film noir. That's kind of like one of the foundations of film noir style of theater and just noir in general. So it's extreme lights and extreme darks. And the intensity of it. I mean, it's not super intense, but it's thoughtful. It makes me think. It makes me want to hear this guy's song, even if it is Wrecking Ball. So, yeah, that's my choice.
I'll go with the watercolor underneath. Just because, you can put that in a poster, it's on the wall. But, we can pass the poster must be tested. So,
or change up on your seat. Suckers, I won. Oh, no, not at all. The thing with filters is, as long as, this sounds silly, but I know a couple of photographers that I'm not calling out names, but they're photographers. That's what they say. And the only issue like I have in that is when I do a wedding consultation, this is anything bad. When I do a wedding consultation, I tell people, I'm not a fan of shooting what's the moment. I want to give you wedding photos that you see 25 years from now, and the only thing you gauge your hair is your photo. You know, it's not the filter you want. But you can do all the filters you want. It doesn't matter. The only thing I told my students is, if the software doesn't exist anymore, can you still do what you're doing? And if they say yes, it's perfectly fine. If they realize all of a sudden everything I'm doing is based off someone else's algorithm, or so on, it's the only look I can get. Does that make sense, guys? The only my visual appeal is based off some piece of software or some piece of thing that I'm depending on, like then it becomes more difficult for me to say that as an instructor, because when I taught photographers, it was more teaching consistency, and I consistently get this result. Not, will I get lucky and get this great shot? It's will I consistently get a good shot? So in your case, filters, it doesn't faze me. But I was going to say the picture, that's yours, one actually, the first one, or the one I changed. So I don't see a filter on that. I see a nice, good, like the good shot there. Like, there's a lot of great ones up there, guys. There's no discredit to any of them. It's just more of a, when I looked at that one, I don't know if you guys agree, that's the one where I looked at it, like, hey, that looks, All right, any comments, guys? I know it's the first one. I'm actually extremely appreciative of how many people are here. These critique ones, I've been to a few critique ones before. A lot of people say they would come out, and you go to them, and you feel bad, friends. You'll be out there. You'll be the only one out there along with person. Because there's a lot of people who say they want it, but then they don't come out. When we wrote 5 people here, I was already happy. Then we had even more. I know there's probably 1 or 2 online. But we're going to do more of these, and they're going to be structured better. And something that I found, like the Roswell Photo Society, which, anyone here lives up close to Roswell? If you have the chance, check out the Roswell Photo Society. They're another group, one of the best groups in Atlanta. They're not a shooting group like us where you're in studio as much. You'll go out to like the botanical gardens, but in one of their meetings, there'll be like 50, 60 people. If you take the age of everyone there, it goes back like 8,000 years. If you add all their ages together, like it's a great group, and they do these type of, like, you bring an image in, and they'll critique it and so on.
Society, they can get you into some of the museums where you're not normally allowed to take photography and all that for you can lose your quite often take pictures of things that you normally can't take pictures of.
They are, I love RPS. They're one of the best groups in it. Groups there. I think Mike actually started it about 10 years ago. Guys, you guys are amazing. Feel free to stay around and chat a little bit, ask any questions, but some great shots there. Let me go ahead and